Therefore, we have to gradually bring our own consciousness into relationships with things in which we become aware of the indestructibility of truth. Until we realize this, we will continue to destroy idols we have set up, falsehoods we have deified, until finally we turn against them. Now, in the closing years of the present century, many of the ancient esoteric arts have come back into focus. 50 years ago, an astrologer was considered to be mildly mad. Today, he is becoming more and more interesting, and not only to humanity, but to the sciences. And there are a great many liberal thinkers who, in the last generation, would never permit themselves to study such matters. We came along with acupuncture, which for 2,000 or 3,000 years was used in China and scoffed by us. And all of a sudden we're interested in it. We're interested in the I Ching. We're interested in yoga and Vedanta. We're interested in esotericism, psychism, every type of thing that was once important, then passed into submergence, and now begins to come out again. Why? Because we are becoming more and more, might say, fearful. We are more and more aware that there has to be something we don't know, that there's some way of doing some of these things better than we're doing them. So we're beginning to look for the people who did them better. And we suddenly realize that they are the ones we've been making fun of for centuries, because we believe so firmly in our own mistakes. Now, the coming way of thinking has brought back a tremendous revival in alchemy. Alchemy is flourishing with new books, new publications, new exponents, new researches, new projects every day. But there's this one thing we have to beware of, and that is, as Basil Valentine pointed out, the great chemist, woe unto the gold makers. If we are going to use alchemy now to pay the national debt, we'll be exactly where we were to start with. If we firmly believe that we can use these superior sciences to protect our mistakes, we're wrong. We are only able to use these correctly if we are also dedicated persons. Unless the happy-go-lucky attitude, which is neither happy nor lucky, that we are in now, is changed, there is no form of learning that we can restore or create that will not land in the same condition we are in today. Because it is a value pattern. We have to change the basic relationship between ourselves and life. This is the great transmutation. This is the secret of the philosopher's stone and the elixir of life. We cannot simply use these powers to take care of our present mistakes. We cannot use psychism to find out how to get out of being alcoholics and then keep on drinking. We cannot say that we are going to use philosophy and then keep on nagging our neighbors and insulting each other. We cannot have enemies and be truth seekers at the same time. We cannot go on supporting the policies with our minds while we are attacking them with our souls. So out of it all comes the necessity of starting with the basic element of alchemy, and that is the person. Bamey and the Rosicrucian group in Europe, many other systems, have emphasized the point that regeneration begins with the individual. That only a person who has a proper internal relationship with life is willing to or capable of making the changes that are necessary. So somewhere in this process we must identify the pearl of great price, the seed soul in ourselves, something that is so mysterious, so minute, that it is like the proverbial mustard seed, that being the least among the seeds shall grow into a great tree. The search for the seed of life. And science should be seeking it. Everything should be seeking to know that which is locked within something so small and so abstract that we cannot even distinguish it or analyze it, and yet from which flows all existence, all condition, all progress, and all reality. Here is the tiny germ, which is the greatest thing in the world, far greater than anything we know. And it's in us, and one thing, we can prove that. We can prove it by the fact that we're here this morning. We can prove it by the fact that we can raise a hand, that we can drive a car, that we can enjoy a bad program on TV. All these things are proofs of something. The fact that we like one thing and dislike another, believe one thing and disbelieve another, these are all evidences of the presence within ourselves of a power, of a life reality, a germ of eternity by which we exist. We are not the only ones. That germ is in everything. But in man it is a certain core. It's reaching further into the great world of needs. In other words, it is the basis of the fruit of life that we're all seeking. Here we are, able to think, able to play the piano magnificently, able to control and direct the actual forces that make up our civilization. All of these things are within our dispatch and within our area of possibility. We have already produced a great world, the modern world, but we have not ensouled it. The thing we have produced up to the present time is a robot. Our whole civilization is a robot, because it is simply an instrument for the fulfillment of our own ignorance, in the sense not of dispelling that ignorance, but making it possible to live with it. We are trying to live with our own imperfections happily and permanently, and this cannot be. The only way we can get over our disasters is to get over the weaknesses and fallacies in our own minds and hearts. So the first thing the alchemist has to do is transmute himself. He has to make sure that he deserves greater power than he has. He must make sure that if he is appointed to public office, he will be incorruptible and will also vision clearly within himself the true needs of people. If he does not know what they need, why should he govern them?